Bim, dam, dalilam, vacarme s'en va dans l'oubli éternam. Et Gustave, dom guardeam, dilim, dididididam, lutes sera dodilom, seram. Dim, dim, da, 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 dim, dim, da, 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 dim, da, di, dam. Dim, dim, da, 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 dim, dim, da, 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 dim, da, di, dam. Dans là-haut sera ravi, les toits à sur noir gris fera. Clair, obscur, trouble de rature, couvrera effet. Clair, obscur, bordé aux peintures, trouvera sans elle. Clair, obscur, trouble de rature, couvrera effet. Clair, obscur, bordé aux peintures, trouvera sans elle. Ô clair, obscur, trouble, rature. Clair, obscur, guardé aux peintures. Clair, obscur, trouble de rature, courera effet. Clair, obscur, guardé aux peintures, trouvera sans elle. Clair, obscur, trouble de rature, trouvera effet. Clair, obscur, guardé aux peintures, trouvera sans elle. Obscur, guardé aux peintures, trouvera sans elle. Clair, obscur, trouble de rature, courbera effet. Clair, obscur, guardé aux peintures, trouvera sans elle.
Hello, hello. Oh. Helps when the cover's not on. Heavier than expected. This is the introduction to Final Fantasy X, man. Ain't no one expected this. They're like, oh, another Final Fantasy's out. Oh, it's got some young man wearing weird clothes. Oh, it's a typical JRPG stuff. Oh, it's got techno in the beginning. Oh shit, it's heavy metal. Oh my god, what's happening? Alright, so today we're doing something that most people wouldn't bother streaming, but might be fun. We're going to be looking at StarCraft history and writing. That's right, we're authoring. Can't really show everything that I'm looking at the same time because I need 2 monitors, but I can show at least what I'm working on here. So, right now I'm writing, I don't know, episode 1. I don't really know how I'm going to divide these episodes, to be honest with you. You know, there might not be kind of like natural breakpoints. That would be nice, but I don't know if I'm shooting for, 45 minutes, an hour. I don't think I want to go over an hour, but should I shoot for a half an hour? I don't know. But it's a lot of information to go through. So, yeah. So this is the actual writing portion, which is kind of like the script, I suppose. I'm not going to adhere strictly to a script because I think that would make me sound very robotic. But I do want to put in a little more than just this outline that I have. Bump the music up for me.
Resubscription received. Apparently you were doing something right, Captain.
Thank you, Dr. Sidewinder, for the 120 months. Honestly, this might be my favorite song from Player Obscure. I don't consider myself big into like techno or something, but I don't know. This one I feel like is a real jam. Anyway, what was I saying? Oh yeah, but I want to do something more than just like have a list of a bullet point list that I also try to read off of, because I think it'd make it too easy to kind of get sidetracked and distracted. So I basically written up to here-ish. Yeah, okay. So I'm now writing about Kespa being formed. I mean, the one that plays with the painters, the kind of like rock metal one, is also very good. But then I also really love violins. So I love Lumiere. I mean, all the songs have a violin in them, which is also why I like it a lot. But I think the one that you're talking about is this one. Une vie et time. It's been a while since I took French. Une vie et ta mère. Something like that. This one. very dramatic. Oh, the one that's just called Paintress? See, I didn't think that was good enough, so I didn't put it on my list. Oh, yeah, no, this is good too. It fit the battle really well. But isn't quite something that I head bop to. I just watched Maximilian Dude's playthrough of the ending, which is always fun. Anyway, so I'm on the Kespa part now. Kespa was formed and inaugurated February 2000. After they were approved, but kind of like a keynote that they're not actually a government entity, but they were approved. It's like a functioning, like almost like a subdivision. Yeah, and I was trying to explain just how different the ecosystem was in Brood War compared to StarCraft 2. I mean, StarCraft 2 is also a bit unique, perhaps, like as far as like it's a smaller esport, so like you could kind of compare Kespa Brood War to maybe like a League of Legends or something. I'm not sure, but it's definitely very different than StarCraft 2, which is what I was comparing it to. And then I remember TY and MC talking about how they became a pro gamer. You know what's actually interesting is that you can't find a lot of information about the Courage tournament. Yeah, exactly. Kaito Project. Which is what I talk about here. Kespa controlled all esports, was run, it sanctioned certain tournaments. For a long time, when would become a pro gamer was you either win a Courage tournament or be given a license by a pro team and be labeled as a semi-pro. And the Courage tournament was played out over 2 days and literally gave out the pro gamer licenses as prizes. Then only then were players legally allowed to play in Kespa sanctioned tournaments, which basically every tournament that wanted to be a real tournament had to be Kespa sanctioned. And then yeah, it's actually kind of difficult to find more information on the Courage tournaments. Like, all the information is in Korean, I guess, and in, like, really old websites at this point. Because all I could find from, like, Wikipedia, for instance, it's, like, a very small, it's a stub. It's not even an actual, yeah. It's not even an actual page. So we know that there are 64 to 128 player tournaments across one of several brackets over 2 days. And then, yeah, they received a pro gamer license. Sunday was seen as more difficult. But as far as how often they were played out, I don't know if it was once a year. Maybe? Twice a year? 3 times a year? I don't know. And there's very little information out there. This is promising. Please explain how Code S, A, B, and Courage tournaments work. This is actually someone asking about, like, StarCraft 2, but... Oh, that's not helpful. Yeah, and then they don't know a Courage tournament. Yeah, not helpful. Then his first Courage tournament won't have a lot of information about Courage tournaments. There's apparently a player named Courage. Okay, Gosu Gamers. Haven't been here in a long time. 19 years ago, 2006. It's kind of cool that you approach this. It's a bit daunting at times. So this is apparently about some of the people trying. How is this kept in the history? Jesus. They don't even list StarCraft on their article page anymore. Oh man, they'd have so many. I mean, they obviously big in StarCraft too, so. This would take forever. Okay, page 555. "22 years ago. Damn! I started writing shit back in 2003? What the fuck? I'm surprised they kept all this up. That's interesting. StarCraft 2 question mark. When was this? In 2003? Oh, that's kind of cool. I maybe just thought of writing Kespa directly to explain the Courage tournaments. I don't think I'd have to write Kespa. I think I could ask some of the guys like Wax or probably even like Tasteless. If they still have records from back then? Yeah, maybe. I mean, I do think it'd be difficult for anyone to find records, even if they can type in Korean. But no, I actually haven't. It's probably worth a shot. Except, I mean, Kespa is just kind of notorious. I mean, Kespa overall, I think, comes out of history with a negative, a net negative to their PR. So I'm not downloading any of these VODs. That's so funny. Kind of want to include this somewhere. This was 2003. Hello, guys. So a lot of these articles aren't really articles. They are just, they just link to Team Liquid. I wish there was a better search for this website, because I'm guessing they actually they get more in depth if we got to page like 100. Maybe if we got to page like 400. You know, it's like 2007 at that time or something. I feel like it would be more in depth, but at this point now, I'm just literally clicking one page at a time. This is less than ideal. There must be a way to like Google Foo a particular page. Okay. Not even Google Foo. This is what I would do. Hacker. I'm in. See, if I was Gen Alpha, I would have figured that out. Oh my god, it's still 2005. Fuck, okay. Try page 300. I asked ChatGPT how to do it. Yeah. Ooh. 2003. Just banned their games from being played at LANs. Interesting. Yeah, I didn't figure that would work. I figured that wouldn't work. Interesting. Well, as we all know, they eventually did basically do this. So this article, I wonder if they have updates later on. Yeah, I know, right? This is why we love Valve. Blizzard Entertainment has banned all of these games from LAN Party. Which is obviously not... This is actually, like, even if it eventually became something that Blizzard did, they didn't really enforce it for another 5 years. But this is an iffy article, because basically they're admitting that the petition has more information than is actually even shown by Blizzard, so... If I click on one of these links, does my computer just crash? Not worth. I wonder if they... 2006. Okay, how about page 250? I wonder if they go over the Kespa Blizzard thing. Get closer. Down. This is why it takes a long time to actually write anything, by the way. Because you're like, I really can't find any information about this thing or that thing. And then you find like a whole new treasure trove of information. You're just like, well, here we go. Time to roll up my sleeves. And then you just literally go through so much. Still nothing about Kespa. Go2 Gamers explains Korea. Oh, come on! They even say you have to go play through a Courage match to get a programmer license. And they didn't actually explain Courage matches. Ah! Poorly saved. Come on, we're getting closer. When exactly was the Kespa Blizzard dispute public? 2000. I'm pretty sure it was 2008. 2008. Maybe it was... Wasn't... Oh, here we go. February 2007, actually. Ew. Wait, do I ever have already gone that far, though? Yeah, I have. Either I missed it, or maybe it didn't. Wasn't it? Maybe it wasn't publicly talked about until later on. European dates. Okay. This is very close to it then. Wait a minute, what was that? Tasteless has a dream? Leaked rumors about StarCraft 2. That's fun. Still nothing about Blizzard Kespo, though. I already went through this. I guess they just didn't report on it. Okay, what's Tasteless's dream? Might be able to show the importance of foreign scene to the Korean authorities. Ah, no dead link. Oh! I had just... Oh, shit. I had clicked on it and not even really noticed. It was called Pro League Saved, that's why. This game was previously reported a dispute. Okay, well, I didn't find it, so... Son of a bitch. This isn't even the Blizzard Kespa dispute, actually. This is actually a separate dispute that Kespa got in trouble for. Not enough information to keep it. Ah, some of the pictures work. Yeah, still nothing about Courage Tournament. Courage Tournament in StarCraft 2. Second attempt at Courage. Nope. Is the second Courage Red attends? Nope. 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 Quora question, why are Korean people so good at StarCraft? Nice. Look at this Blizzard reporting on StarCraft. Only 400 to make it to the finals of a Courage tournament. Nope. Nope, nope, and nope. Yep, alright. So that's all I got about Courage tournaments then. Until I get someone to talk about it, I guess. They would outperform Rogue and Cyril in earnings, yeah. I mean, I don't think any of the pro gamers kept the Bitcoins they got from that tournament, but I know Scarlet was pretty into like day trading for a while, and I think she actually has some finance acumen. She might have still gotten in on Bitcoin earlier than others. Alright, so unfortunately nothing about the Courage tournament. That's super specific. Yeah, so much more controlled system. And then that's where I got to. Alright. What else do I want to include? Kespa talks on pro gamer certification. WCG starts hosting tournaments, I guess, is what I should be talking about next. Because I went through the OSL victory. Yeah, okay. Alright, let me read through this. Kespa begin talks on pro gamer certification. Break down the ecosystems created StarCraft 2. StarCraft 2 is way looser. Kespa controlled esports. Courage tournament got you a license. Internationally, there was more fluidity to the term pro gamer and more open tournaments to compete in, but they never matched the size or prestige of the South Korean tournaments and teams. Okay, yeah, and then speaking internationally, alright. Tournaments were plenty, but generally very small. One tournament stood above the rest for foreigners. I don't know where I should start explaining why we call them foreigners. Stood above the rest for those outside of Korea. And that was the World Cyber Games. The main tournament, WCG Challenge 2000. In the year 2000. WCS Challenge 2000 had its opening ceremony. 7th of October 2000. And would be the biggest international competition in StarCraft. Although OSL, MSL, etc. did not purposefully, what's the word? Constrain their players to being Korean. I'll figure out a better way to say that. For all intents and purposes. Yep. How to say? How did not purposefully restrict their tournaments to Koreans only. For all intents and purposes, it was. So, if you were not Korean, the biggest platform for your skill would be at WCG. The Koreans, how to say? Yeah, Mike, I kind of like initially went with the approach to go for a little more of a generalized thing. But then I realized I'm not really sure how I do that, to be honest. Like, for instance, like, you know, explaining that foreigners, the term foreigner means non-Korean. Like, I think I would eventually explain that. But actually, as far as the podcast written now, that's actually not necessarily the case as of like the year 2000. We're still in the year 2000. It hadn't really garnered that kind of it hadn't become like a word that was like in the StarCraft 2 like lexicon, you know, like this wasn't something that everyone agreed on calling people foreigners if they weren't Korean. Because obviously like internationally it wasn't that big, and then actually at the year 2000 there was still quite a few non-Korean pro gamers who were considered quite threatening. But I would explain it eventually as like more and more it becomes Korean centric. What I won't do, what I was like gonna do, but then I was like, I don't know, is like try to explain dynamics of unit interaction. So, for instance, if I was doing this for a general audience, right? And I was like, well, here's how Jaedong like inspired, you know, mutas and how to use mutas. Okay, I would have to go on to explain, you know, the whole background of a muta, you know, like what technology it is, what its general uses, how it actually works. You know, here, you know, it's a muta that flies in the sky, and there are some flying units in StarCraft, and there's some non-flying units in StarCraft, only some things can shoot up, and okay, so it flies, but it's not particularly strong. It's very harassment-oriented. It works by slinging a glaive worm around, bouncing a bunch of times. Anyways, and I was just like not really convincing myself how to do that continuously. Like, I think I actually initially wrote how Reavers worked, and then I had to explain what Reavers were and why they're a threatening unit in StarCraft to an audience who apparently who had never played StarCraft. That's actually a long time to do. Where what I just ended up doing was basically talking to a person who has an idea of what StarCraft is. They've like played it. They know it's a top-down real-time strategy where you control armies and build economy. And then might not, you know the meta, or like, you know, that something is difficult to do. So I was like, the Reaver used to be really dumb, so its shots wouldn't actually hit anything. Sorry, reverse that. The Reaver used to be really smart, so its shots would actually hit everything. And then they turned it dumb, so that it wouldn't shoot 100% all the time. Which I feel like it's pretty general, but yeah, I'm not gonna go into every StarCraft unit. I think that would take too long. Or just like how StarCraft plays as well, which is like, you know, if someone creates this, let me think, like, okay, like Forge Fast Expand, right? Like Forge Fast Expand was eventually developed for Protoss, but initially that wasn't how they played, because just like in StarCraft 2 and StarCraft 1, no one knew how to actually play. I would have to, you know, really go into like the entire like context of like, well, you see in StarCraft, you know, you build a base, but sometimes defending a base at your second base is really difficult to do. So they have these chokes that are used, and then static defense was seen as too much of an investment, and kind of like go over everything, you know? And that's something I don't want to do. So there won't be a whole episode about the week when there was a Warhound. There will be a whole episode. But yeah, it is actually really difficult to walk that line between like making this approachable for people who kind of understand video games in general, and someone, you know, who's gonna be like, I know what a Reaver is, stop talking about it, like move on with the freaking podcast. It's difficult. Like Maynarding, here's a good example that I did actually have to write kind of an elaborate explanation on, which was Maynarding. Here's what I came up with. Maynarding is transferring some workers from your main base to your second base as it completes. Didn't use the word natural. Thus having both bases partially saturated. So imagine having 24 workers in your main, and as the natural, it's the second base completes, you pull 12. So instead it's 12 main, 12 at second base. But then, like, you know, would I have to continue explaining like, well, and then that would, you know, because the way that StarCraft 1's mineral mining worked actually specifically, it was actually this algorithmic thing, go into like all the math that people have been doing. And it's like, I could probably just leave it at this. And if someone's like, I don't really understand how that helps, but okay, I guess it does. One of the main problems with really early Wings of Liberty, forge, fast, expand the map pool. So very initially in StarCraft 2, it was not forge, fast, expand. It was Sentry 4-gate expand off of one base. Or maybe it was 3-gate, but I think it's 4-gate actually. So you could either 4-gate attack, because everyone knows the 4-gate is an attack, or you could 4-gate expand and just build all the sentries. About like, I think the Forge Fast expand came in like, you know, early on as far as our 15-year recollection, but as far as StarCraft 2, if you remember playing the game, it would have been a while before Forge Fast expand appeared. And I actually, I got Crank on interview saying how he was attributed to using the Forge Fast expand first. And then I found the video of, he remembered where he showed the Forge Fast expand. And I found the exact game he was talking about, but I don't remember when that game was played. I think it was something like mid-2011. So actually, like, you know, like 8 months into StarCraft's lifespan. But then it was the go-to for the entirety of Wings of Liberty, which was still another year and a half. It's a good point, Mike. You could actually kind of relate it to real life. But again, do I want to try and explain how SCV mining works? You know, which is like, well, you see, in StarCraft, actual optimal mining, like this is the kind of difficult decision making I have writing this stuff. Like, how much of the audience, how much knowledge do I want to assume the audience has? And like I said, I'm kind of shooting for they've played StarCraft, they know the basics, but then maybe they weren't into esports. So the idea of maximizing efficiency in your minerals is, you know, a broad enough concept that people can be like, oh, okay. Even if specifically they don't know how the SCVs bounce and how you can trick them into mining more efficiently, they're just like, this is a more efficient way, and they had to discover that. And they're like, oh, okay, sure, fine, whatever. But I can't really spend so because if you really, like, you could spend an entire podcast episode, actually. You could spend an hour talking about how the StarCraft economies work. Brood War StarCraft economy, pre-Legacy of the Void economy, and post-Legacy of the Void economy. Which I don't want to do. But yeah, I feel like the Foreigner thing is, you know, something I can kind of intertwine a little bit later down the road. Which is like kind of at some point being like, at this point, Foreigners, you know, it was just Korea really dominating the scene. Non-Koreans hardly ever lit a candle to them. And as such, this began a trend of calling people who were not Korean foreigners overall, no matter where the tournament was held. You did a presentation on esports? Yeah. Yeah, it's like, I remember my friend did this presentation on a movie she really loved. I was, to be honest, I was already kind of cringing. I knew this wasn't gonna go well when she was like, I'm gonna do this movie. Because we all had to pick a movie to break down, you know, show its like motifs and its use of color and the themes and how, you know, whatever, right? I think I chose The Curious Case of Benjamin Button. Which I think I did a good job, but apparently all of us basically failed at the task. We all did something that the teacher didn't mean for us to do, but thankfully this teacher was cool and was like, so you all missed the point entirely. But that's on me. If you all did it, then that's on me. So you guys are going to be graded on the thing you guys have thought we're going to be graded on. Anyway. She did it on a... What is that superhero called? The Japanese Power Ranger? Not the Japanese Power Rangers. But the Japanese hero that is like a Power Ranger. And has existed for like 40 years at this point. 50 years, I don't even know. Yes. Superhero. Ultraman? I think you're right. I think it was Ultraman. No, it was Kamen Rider. It was Kamen Rider. But both are like, yeah, whatever, yeah. Ultraman also would have been a good answer. But the point is, it was one of these things. But it was like a movie, and it's like there's like a billion movies, and there's like tons of episodes. And she chose a movie, and this movie was so bad. She had us watch it, and we were all just like, I guess it's kind of cool, I suppose. But it was so bad. Just like really comical visual effects. Really cheesy dialogue. All translated. But my friend chose this to dissect in like a movie theory class, basically. And I think to her, it sounded so interesting because she had all of this background information on the character, right? So she was trying to explain all the like things from all of the episodes and all of the movies that came together for this climax of the movie she was showing us, but really couldn't be explained quickly enough or well enough. So that's I was just like, oh, this isn't going to end well. And it didn't end well, but that's how I imagine explaining esports to someone, especially like, 15 years ago when no one knew about it and competitive gaming was still a laughable concept and all that, being like, well, hold on here. Here's like the background of all this. Not enough time. Not enough teacher patience in the world, I think. Alright, so WCG continuing on. Biggest platform skills would be at WCG. In 2000, non-Koreans were still seen as very competitive. After all, GRR had just won the first OSL, and many other non-Koreans were making marks in the scene. Well, just won the first OSL and whatever. Korea was building the infrastructure and generally loved more than any other single country. But non-Koreans were still a threat. This meant that WCG was... okay, this made WCG an interesting tournament. More interesting than later versions where a Korean champion was all but predetermined. Is that one word? Yes, it is. Okay. Use guaranteed. Guaranteed. probably explain what WCG is, though. WCG was an attempt to replicate the Olympics, but for video games. Each country? I mean, I think it was region, actually. I feel like... I don't actually know how WCG was divided. Hold on. Yeah, that's actually a dilemma for me. Big time Mesochobo. It's so hard to remember what fascinated you and what, you know, made you feel like you were, like, understanding the game back then. It's one of those things that I've forgotten how I felt 15 years ago. But now I can kind of remember because I'm playing Deadlock, right? This game that I really enjoy. Where it's like in Deadlock, I get to be kind of excited genuinely, whereas for StarCraft, there's a lot of this like, well, everyone knows what I'm about to talk about, so why am I going to explain this to an audience that already knows, you know? But now, it creates a problem, which is just that I kind of forget to really dumb things down, or, yeah, with the podcast, I'm like, this is, you know, this is general enough that people will get it, and people are just going to be like, what the fuck you on about? This is crazy talk. Showed up on a very popular late-night talk show here in Quebec to explain what he was saying. I feel like we looked this up and actually we were able to find the video. This sounds very familiar. Actually, I absolutely did because I put it into this interview. Why didn't I delete that? How did I start off with that? Anyway. But I'm pretty sure I found that VOD and I put it in to this interview. Maybe not the VOD where it actually, like, the computer actually crashes, but still. I am 95% sure I did that. It actually might have been someone else's interview when they were talking about Gur. And now I'm not going to be able to find it quickly. It was on the Liqueur show. I think I have it on my... Probably not on this one. I'll say I need to put his real name. Which I can't spell, so this is going to go well. Fucking it. Don't even know why I tried that. Googling it now doesn't help, but I think it is on... I have it bookmarked on the playlist. Because I really remember I remember finding it. And putting it in a VOD, so I'm pretty sure I have it. Yeah, not particularly relevant for the actual podcast, but still an interesting story nonetheless. The interesting thing I put about Gur in this podcast is that he was hungover. Yeah. The night before the final of the OSL, I was out until 4 a.m. I didn't get drunk. I won, but I really could have used the practice. But that is a fun story. Yeah, that's the thing is, the general audience, I wouldn't know what an RTS is, and that's, like, again, how I have to make a choice of who to, like, cut off. Because I feel like me explaining how, like, what real-time strategy even is in the first place would just take so much time and so much wind out of the sails. I don't know. Anyways, oh, I was looking up WCG. That's what I was doing. World Cyber Games. Let's go with the first one that happened. How was this divided? Qualifiers: Canada, China, France, Norway, Sweden, United States. I mean, it is country-based. I don't know what determined which nations. That could be a voicemail. It's fine. Any nation can send up to 3 players for any individual and up to 2 teams for any team game. Okay, yeah, so I guess it's just, there's some public Olympics for the video games. Each country could send 3 players for non-team games and 2 teams for team games. Initially, only a few countries would take part due to to take part as funding was a challenge to get, and simply put, many countries did not have enough players or interest to attend. RTS somewhere in the middle between chess, poker, and table tennis. Table tennis. I guess like activity, like actually doing something. I want to talk about chess when I come back, but I got a BRB. Yeah, I get that. I think table tennis is right. But yeah, I've been watching a lot more chess. I'm actually gonna watch the quarterfinals on VOD. But I really did not understand chess. You know, I'd always been, because I know chess as far as like what you do and what the pieces are called and how they move. I actually do know that much. But even then, I never really understood how it was played. I think I was talking about this yesterday, where it's like media doesn't help. Or it's like people looking at the walls and like seeing moves like 50 times ahead of each other. But yeah, since listening to chess and hearing the commentary, I can see now even more why people compare StarCraft to chess. Like, I think initially I was kind of like, yeah, I guess, you know, it's a strategy game where positioning matters. But now that I've listened to a lot of chess commentary, I can really see it. Where, I don't know, like, whenever I played chess, I always just assumed that I wasn't thinking far enough ahead. You know, I wasn't being like, a pawn goes there, and then the knight goes there, and then the rook goes there, and then the... When really, now that they're commentating it, right, they're just kind of like, well, as soon as this unit moves over here, it controls this part of the board. And when you move this unit here, it opens up this other unit to be a part of the board as well. And I was like, oh, that's how you're supposed to think about chess? Oh, I thought you just had to like memorize openers and then think like 50 steps ahead of your opponent. But there's like, you know, like positioning becomes stronger and units are seen like weaker in certain positions. Like, what? One of the Queen's Gambit. No, that's not why I got into chess. No, I mean, this is like I only just watched EWC. I was like, oh, I know what channel it's gonna be on. Let me see what this is about. And then it was really good, actually. And I was like, oh shit, okay. I was kind of interested with Queen's Gambit because I thought it was quite a good series, and I did enjoy it, but I didn't start playing chess after that. I mean, I am playing some chess, and chess.com really is quite cool because like you'll open and they'll be like, I see you're doing the Polish opener, and I'm like, yeah, that's what I'm doing. And then I like move another unit. It's like, you're doing this defense, and I'm like, totally. But I like how it's trying to like slowly introduce you to that type of situation. But as soon as the coach was like, you moved the pawn, which opened up your bishop. Good idea. I was like, yeah, it did open up the bishop, didn't it? What's your script about, Nish? I like chess, but it needs a map pool update. Dude, the chess games yesterday for AWC were actually like so hype. Just crazy. There was like legitimate play-by-play being done. Basically, these two competitors were going at it, and they were in a what do they call it? Armageddon. It's like no draws. This is it. Someone has to move on. And like someone started to it was the game before Armageddon actually. It was the game before Armageddon, but someone was like absolutely gonna win. Everyone agreed. Chess.com agreed. The guy's like posture and like heart rate also agreed. He was like, yeah, I got this. I'm gonna win. And then he starts to fuck up. They're like, oh my god, he made a mistake. That was a pretty big mistake. Oh my god, he made another one. Oh my god, he's letting this go. Oh Jesus, he only has 3 minutes on the clock. This is not gonna be enough time. And I was like, oh my god. Oh my god, I can't believe that guy messed up. What a douche. What a doofus. What an idiot. Oh my god, the other guy's gonna come back. Oh my god, it's a draw. Doing an episode on the Video Game History Foundation. That's cool. No more information on what the podcast project is, though. Keeping it tight-lipped. It's also crazy how much more emotive the chess players are than StarCraft players. It's this weird conundrum, I guess, where there's just simply not enough time in StarCraft to start really freaking out. But all the chess players, like, they're very like, I'm in control, and I look really cocky and confident. Oh my god, I'm not in control. I'm gonna freak out. I'm gonna start looking everywhere. I'm gonna start, like, rubbing my hands in my hair and shit. Yeah, I mean, I know a lot of it's the shorter games, but I like it. Do I write like how I would speak? No. Initially, I kind of was, actually, but then when I started rereading it, I didn't. The problem is, with the idea to eventually do the voiceover, right, to actually talk, if I write it the way that I would say it, and then I try to say it, it actually, I think, comes off very inauthentic, because then I feel more obligated to stick strictly to the script, because I wrote it the way I would say it, you know? Or if I'm writing it in more of like a clinical way, then I can kind of read it clinically and then start to add my own flair to it, you know? Like, you know, push up my glasses. WCG Challenge 2000 at its opening ceremony, 7th of October 2000, with the biggest international competition in StarCraft. So basically, guys, like, WCG was actually a pretty big deal, but it became more of a big deal for the foreigners, honestly, you know. It's my tea and top hat. Yum, 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 yum. Anyways, put many countries that have enough players or interest to attend. Okay, that's good enough. Year 2000 on Crane still is competitive. F. So I want to... It was a tournament where Koreans would begin to prove their international dominance rather than being only dominant within their own country. Not the best way to put it, but whatever. One thing I'm also trying to do writing this is actually not be a perfectionist and not go back 50 times over the same sentence to try and write it well, as that takes too long. So just being like, good enough, moving on. In its first iteration, Korea would prove the best, and someone who no one remembers, Go Rush. Rush would win the overall tournament over his countrymen. I love Star. Okay. No one remembers you. No one remembers you, but you are now a footnote in history. Go Rush is actually a little remembered. And then it definitely will bring up Elky in the next in 2001's WCG. All right. WCG. Second OSL was named the 2000 Freak Child. Okay, yeah. The second OSL. 2000 Free Chow. Oh, one thing I wanted to look up. What was the first intro? And I'm actually not sure how to look that up. What was the first... The intro, the thing where they took a camera and shoved it in programmers' faces and they were all awkward as fuck. We need a better labeling system. I had to go back and like reorganize my hard drives and then actually put labels on them because it's too many. Actually, I think I unlinked the one that I'm thinking of. Oh my god, I need to fix this. I need to go to my clock and remove that. There it is. I mean, there must be a YouTube playlist rather than trying to dig around for that particular hard drive. OSL StarCraft intros. StarCraft intros. How far back do you go? Not far back enough, damn it. Useless. Okay, 2002. Was that the first one? I wonder. Wait a minute. Well, maybe I could. It might be. If the VODs are available, they might be in the VODs. Which, actually, I think I have all the VODs. But again, is it the right hard drive connected? No. God damn it. I literally downloaded all of them. Someone had a downloadable Uber VODs. Oh, Jan. I'm getting started. Hanaro. Is Hanaro the first one? Free Chow. So I don't have that one? I do. Wait, which is the one with Gur? It is this one. Okay. So that did not have the super cool intro. All right. This also did not have super cool intros. And now they did this one? Okay, when did they first do it? Damn. Yeah, the outfits, yeah. It's so funny hearing the guy who was basically in charge of this. He was like, I asked him, I was like, what was up with the space costumes? And he was like, I think the higher ups just thought it was like new age, the year 2000, be sci-fi. But it was kind of funny seeing, like, at the time, like, the guy's now 40 or 50, and he's kind of like, yeah, like, a bunch of old people thought it would be cool. I didn't think it would be cool, but they had to follow their lead. Oh, this has been going on in the background this entire time. Lol. Nate 2000 OSL 2002. Oh my god, they're still wearing the stupid things. They're wearing capes. Oh my god, they're wearing capes. Okay. All right, so it seems like this actually might be the first one. Nate 2002. Oh my god, he's shirtless. Guys. What the fuck is what is this? Wait, how have I not seen this one before? boxing match. Oh my god. Oh my god. 90% of the audience is not female. But Hot Forever did actually... Him and Reach both did topless photo shoots. So, there's that. Comes K-pop. Meh. So that's still not the intros I'm thinking of, you know? This is not, it's not it. But it seems like this guy actually has all of the beginning ones, so keep watching. No. No, not clips. Nope, not good enough. Still not what I'm thinking of. I need them to be models. Here we go. Here it is. Oh my god, you see that? Did you see that 3D action? Oh my god, Boxer came right at us. Watch out, guys. Whoa! I feel like this is kind of what you would first. Yeah, baby. Yeah, get that 90s look in there. This I feel like is the first one. Because I think, so I asked Crisis about it, and he was saying how this was done on like a $100 budget or something. And he just had this idea to, like, you know, walk around with the camera and you know, take shots of the pro gamers. But he didn't say when that was. As far as I can remember, anyway. So I feel like you would... to call, like, this one, not this one, the next one kind of the first of the... I don't know. How would you say? Directed openers? I don't know. Like, eventually they got actually cool, but I think it took a while. Holy shit, that guy does a flip. It's funny they put Protoss victory after victory when Protoss, like in StarCraft 2, actually had probably the most difficulty getting championships. Okay, well, apparently this doesn't actually happen until 2003, so can hold off on writing about that. What was I doing otherwise? Do, 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 do. Can't just do a silly explain like I'm 5 edit for a bunch of the tough concepts. And it's like, how often would I have to make a pause in the podcast and be like, so here's how I would explain it if I explained to someone who was, you know, someone who's 5 years old. Is this one episode? So I'm not actually sure, Nish. I had timed myself out reading all of this and giving appropriate pauses to see how long an hour would be. And it was around here that it was like 50 minutes, I think. 50 minutes. And initially I was gonna, like, I actually had a episodic... I had a way to divide the episodes quite nicely, I thought. Which was like, leading up to this point, pro gaming wasn't really a term. Quickly grew into one. Old school pro gamers were starting to break the stereotype of like a nerdy, lonely gamer But one player broke the stereotype. Broke through the stereotype in a way that no one else had, or something like that, and then it just said Slayer's Boxer. But there is still so much actually to talk about before Boxer enters into the top of the pro gaming field. So, yeah. So Kespa was formed first. WCG happened first. The second OSL happened first. And then Boxer really appears. Is this song Final Fantasy VIII? This one? Yes. I don't know what was playing before this, but possibly. And then I have a lot from Garimto, because I literally interviewed him. Garimto. Skeleton. All right, here's the other dilemma. There's things that are happening at the same time. That's how time works and history works. But it's difficult to decide when to make note of something. So right now, for instance, I don't know where I want to put the fact that Protoss was actually considered the strongest race, and Terrans were considered inherently underpowered. But I think it should be after this, and then Protoss, OP, Terran, OP, enter Slayer's Boxer. I mean, that may be a way to enter into the next episode, but at this point, this episode would be an hour and a half long now. So, the Fierce Battle is not on this list. I honestly don't remember which Final Fantasy VI songs that I like. I haven't memorized their names. I know Terra's theme. I definitely like that one. So that's on this list. Too many. Toronto would be as revolutionary. Advancing. Protoss is already considerable. Already, Rimso we see as revolutionary. Advancing. Protoss is already great standing in the as many as seen as revolutionary, showcasing the micro potential of Protoss. His successors. Successors. He thinks the successors would be the revolutionaries, and even chuckled at the idea of him being one. Garimto interview. I don't remember when he said it, but it was sometime. So I'm just gonna put Garimto revolutionary talk. So part of this podcast is actually putting in all the interviews. So some of them I've already found the timestamps for, but for instance, you know, talking about how badly balanced StarCraft Vanilla was. Let's listen to an old school Prawl talk about this, and then Gur talks about it. Funny, explain the Infestor became the best unit in the game like 8 times. Yeah, I'm gonna have... StarCraft 2 is both easier and more difficult in my mind, because I know so much more about it, but there's also so much more about it. That's how I played StarCraft. That's how my family first played StarCraft, was on the N64. I never really knew that games were awful or bad when I was younger. I just got a game and was like, okay, this is how it works, and then I played it. It never occurred to me to blame the game, so I just was like, that's how StarCraft works with an N64 controller. With Protoss winning back OSLs, the general consensus was that Protoss was one of the best races in StarCraft, followed by Zerg, the odd man out. This turn. Oh yeah, if you played after playing on PC, then you would absolutely understand how bad it was, but I didn't. So, knowledge is power, but naivety is fun, or something. There's something there. Yeah, there's so many games I've played, and I was just like, how did I play this so much? Like, I played, oh my god, it was a Sega Genesis game where you played as cowboys. Sunset Riders. Sunset Riders, I played so much when I was younger. And I got pretty far into the game. I don't think I ever beat it, but I got pretty far. And Morty and I played it in Poland at a Polish arcade museum. And he died like so quickly, right? Because I kind of remembered how to play and like what... I kind of remembered where the enemies would pop up and stuff. But he gave up very quickly. And then I played until, I don't know, like the 3rd or 4th level, I guess. But even then I was like, Jesus, how did I play this so much? When it was the only game you had. It wasn't the only game we had, but when it was one of like 7 games you had. And 2 of the cartridges were already not working by the time I was 12. You're gonna play it a lot. General Sense with the Protoss was one of the best races in StarCraft, followed by Zerg. The odd man out was Terran. And this is where... Okay, so much so that it was believed Terran was... how do I want to say this? So much so... This is where I have to bring up... I gotta bring up something... Really? Fuck. There we go. Good night, Mike. Alright, this is Boxer's autobiography. Choosing Terran. Okay. No! It reset my page. There it is. Himself. Autobiography. I did not misuse the word. Me no words. Y'all realize how trash it was? Well, Kaito Project, you might be able to say that for Toss Girl, but not for Boxer, who literally proved Terran was not trash. He swapped the Terran when everyone thought it was trash. You might say it was kind of like swapping a Zerg right before, like, Rudlin and Fester got really good. So, but he, obviously someone had to prove that it was really good. Too sad. I guess I'll listen. I already listened to these ones. Let's listen to Terra's theme. That Sin fight theme? Nah, Otherworld was actually the Sin cinematic song, but the next time it played was actually when he faced Jet. So, thank you. It was not the Sin fight theme. Although Jet is Sin. You only got it when he was Big Jet. Aeon Jet. Whatever. Actually... anyway. How do I want to write this? That's what I meant when I spoil it for everyone else. Okay, but you do find out that he is Sin, like, only 3 hours into the game. 5 if you're, you know, slow. But it's one of those spoilers, but, like, kind of not. Also, it's a 20-year-old game. 23, 24-year-old game. There's a good way to make this point. Protoss had been considered one of the stronger. This is in StarCraft. At this time, and is only reinforced by the back Protoss OSL champions. Zerg was also considered strong enough, but the real odd man out was Terran. Terran didn't make much of a blip on the tournament radars until one person changed. Not only its chances at victory, but also its identity. That was Slayer's Boxer. Something like that. And then this would be a good time to end the episode, but it would be a long episode. But then, you know, maybe the intro episode being longer is actually okay. I don't know. End episode 1. If you haven't played Final Fantasy X, you really should play Final Fantasy X. That's like 1 hour 40. No, I think this would probably be more like an hour 20, if I guess correctly. Maybe even lower, actually. I'd have to time myself again. But I need to find out how long some of these interview segments would be. So here's John the translator explains Kespa is a certain amount of time. TY becoming a pro gamer, MC becoming a pro gamer a certain amount of time. Grimto Revolutionary Talk a certain amount of time. So yeah, actually could be an hour and a half. I timed it out before. I timed it out to here. But I did, you know, actually include these ones when I just paused and waited that long. Impressing the nobles PTSD. I gotta press the buttons. Oh god. Oh no. Oh my god, they're booing me. Oh god. There are certain songs that it's so ingrained in your brain that you do hear all of the sound effects, you know? Whoa! Whoa! Boo! Oh, I was like, what is the other song that made me really think of things? Blitz Off. I feel like I hear the sound of the blitz balls being kicked and stuff. Alright, then episode 2 would be largely devoted to Slayer's Boxer. So I think in the eventual documentary that I want to make, I feel like there would be an episode dedicated to Slayer's Boxer. And I feel like a good opener for that episode would actually be people talking about him. And, like, splicing in footage of him and his cool micro tricks and stuff to start off the episode. But as far as a podcast episode, I don't think it would work out as well. So how do I want to start the episode? Quick recap episode 1. That is true. That usually is the best way to go for podcasts. Current appearance fee. You're right, though. StarCraft 1 had taken the world. Had captured the world's attention. Fine. Last episode. I mean, the last thing I want to do is start every episode in the last episode, but for now it'll be fine. We learned just how much StarCraft was influencing South Korea. Produce on ZombieGrub. That'd be in my autobiography. By the way, if you ever read the book is called Try to Be as Crazy as Me, and it's never been officially translated. This is a fan translation. But if you ever read it, one thing that it looks like is like, it looks like Boxer's very poetic and uses a lot of flowery language. Which I don't know if he does or doesn't, but the translator admitted in like the subnotes, footnotes, that basically like this Korean is such a flowery language that there's a lot of difficulties trying to convey sentiments. She could find an example. Wow. Sometimes he almost comes off as too try-hard, but I think it's the translations. But yeah, he actually is. I guess he is a big reader when he was younger. This kind of gets like, this kind of gets real at a certain point too, a little too real, all right? Blindly aiming for that goal as the best pro gamer, it was until that day when my life suddenly felt empty that I was born as a young man in my 20s. Calm down, Boxer. And this actually only goes up to, like, 2002 or something. Yeah, this autobiography finishes when he's in a slump, and then he actually goes on to become one of the best players again for a couple of years. Never surrender. One thing I'm bad at is tenses. So Korea. Although many would strive to be the best staff in their region. North Korea leads ahead. Infrastructure. It's too long of a word. Oh god, what is the TLDR? It's okay. Internet infrastructure, internet. It's internet infrastructure. Perfect storm of events. Dashes are always great. Apparently it's called M-dash or something like that, and the only reason I know this now is because people are finding ways to determine like whether or not something is AI. And apparently AI uses a lot of these dashes. But I feel like we've gotten to this like chicken and egg situation where a lot of people are assuming that AI is going to be the cause of people using these dashes a lot of the time. Where in my opinion, AI probably learned to use these dashes because so many of us don't actually know when to use like a semicolon. Because I'm pretty sure this is the reason it exists. That's certainly my reasoning. I like look at a sentence and I'm like, I'm pretty sure a semicolon is what I need here, but I'm not 100% about it, so a dash will just do the trick. And I feel like absolutely AI learned it that way, not the other way around. So when people are like, oh, look at all these M dashes, it's AI. I'm like, I don't think that's the reason. I mean, I think there's a lot of, you put everything together and you can kind of tell when something's written by AI. That is true, but I definitely don't blame it on the dashes. Foresight to invest in IT infrastructure. The foresight to invest in IT infrastructure, the IMF crisis leading to necessitating. That's a fun word. Necessitating. It's just necessitating cheap jobs and cheap entertainment, which is the PC bong, the natural competitiveness of a small, war-torn, financially crippled country, and the non-allowance, there's got to be a better word here. Someone be at the source. The prohibition. Prohibition of Japanese cultural imports. Thank you. Japanese cultural imports. Like Sony PlayStation or Nintendo. System. I guess that's actually what I have to say. Or Nintendo systems. Yeah, okay. Okay, hold on. The four external events led to South Korea's dominance in brood war. The foresight to invest in IT infrastructure, the IMF crisis necessitating cheap jobs, cheap entertainment, which was the PC bong, the natural competitiveness of small, war-torn, financially crippled country, and the prohibition of Japanese culture imports like the Sony PlayStation or Nintendo. Or I'm just gonna say Super Nintendo. Or Nintendo just doesn't sound like a sentence because it's also the name of the company. Anyways. I guess that is a sentence. I guess I could end it there. See, to me it seems... this is all very logical. Use a semicolon when considering a thought when both are complete expressions. Use im-dash for interjections that are not asides. To me, it still feels like it's the same. It's the same thing, actually. Suppose I had an initial complete expression, following it with a related complete expression would involve using a semicolon. And like, I'm pretty sure when I'm supposed to use a semicolon, just not sure enough. I mean, actually, in this case, because it's a list, it actually might just be a full colon. For when to use a colon. And then skip over the AI, which always gets things wrong. It usually gives the silent impression of as follows, which is are or thus. So yeah, I think I used that right, actually. I think I did. What do I want to end my stream on, song-wise? Chill. Gotta be chiller. You gotta wind down. Okay, we also learned how the pro gaming scene was beginning to form. Which I guess the colon works here too. Natural interest. Well, let's say community interest in watching better and better gamers. Highest. Hello. I'm okay. I do have to go now, though. It's actually been, you know, every now and again, writing is very frustrating, especially when you can't figure out a very eloquent way of saying something and you just have to concede and write something really stupid. But sometimes I really get into the flow. And I had always had this procrastination with writing, but I always enjoyed it. Which I was, I guess, kind of a perfectionist in it. I used to write a lot. I was good at creative writing. I was good in, you know, literature classes. I forum role played a ton. And I would always procrastinate writing anything. But when I did write something, it was bursts. Sometimes like overnight, like 12 hours before the essay was due or something. And I would get into a flow state that would last hours. And that's been kind of neat going back to that. Feeling like you can actually still do something where you look at the clock and like 2 or 3 hours have gone by, you didn't even notice. It doesn't only happen with video gaming. But I gotta go celebrate my sister-in-law's birthday. So, hope everyone has a good Thursday. Thanks for helping me. The next stream I'll do with this particular project will probably actually be to get people's input on StarCraft 2 and its outline. So I've done basically all of Brood War's outline as far as major, you know, pivotal events and anything I found like to be important, you know, for later down the line things like mentioning Team Liquid's development. But for StarCraft 2, I feel like there's going to be a lot of people who can come into chat and be like, oh, don't forget this and don't forget that. And then I was there for that. And that actually is what happened. And this is what happened. And that was what happened. So that I think could actually be a lot of fun. And then it's just an outline. So it won't be as much on actually trying to write something eloquent. It'll just be like, okay, what do you remember from beta? And someone's going to be like, oh, I remember when this player no one remembers figured out that Mass Roach was good because it was one supply. Which if one player had to figure that out and not everyone just immediately agreed it was good, I don't know what to tell 2009, 2010 StarCraft gamers, but they were dumb. Anyway, that won't be next stream. Tomorrow I'll probably just be doing more video gaming. But yeah, depends. So thanks for watching again, guys. Hope you have a good Thursday, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye.